Andrew Heaton.
Hello.
Soulmates. That's what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Relevant to your interests?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if I told you this button, if you push this button, immediately around the world, there is a service that has algorithmically figured out how to connect you with the soulmate that they have identified. But if you push this button, you no longer have the option to go in any other route. Around the world, people are mandated. They are obligated to identify and use the soulmate that is presented to them in their service for the rest of their lifelong relational needs.
Okay.
Are you pushing the button? Andrew, would you touch it?
Two kind of wonky immediate questions here.
Yeah.
One, in our magical universe where we can change the laws of nature depending on the question, alcohol doesn't exist, or rocket fuel all converts to...
It tastes like pudding.
Yeah. So are they correct in their analysis, or is it just that we're giving global monopoly power to Tinder? What is the level of efficacy here?
Interesting question. Let's talk about it.
So far, it just sounds like you went, hey, a corporation with a lot of missiles has said it's got a good dating algorithm. Do you want to give them more missiles? And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Here's the thing. The reason why I started with that is because in this world of being completely unrealistic, just theory crafting, hypothetical situations, if there was ever a thing to be presented into the world, it would most likely come from a corporation who had access to deep level data for personality and attractiveness. And basically, the data brokerages out there that have all of your information that are getting more and more precise with how to target your innermost wants, needs, and desires. A solution like this would most likely come from a corporate interest, a service, if you will.
For the record, if there were a department of love, I'd be like, ooh, that sounds this is real bad.
I don't think it's coming from the government.
Bob Menendez in charge of that?
I see it coming from a corporation who has it in their best interest to connect you with actually a really, really good match, what they would call your soulmate.
Okay, so we're waiving discussions about monopoly and stuff. There's some sort of really good algorithm, and it's pretty good so far as we know.
Yes, at a very deep level, they understand the wants, needs, and desires, the personality preferences, what they find physically attractive, the long-term goals and aspirations, and how compatible those are, how men and women change over time as they age, and whether or not those differences are going to age well together, or are you going to drift apart over time? Who will communicate well? What kind of communication styles, what kind of attachment styles are going to be the most compatible with each other? So I'm not saying soulmate in the sense of magical fairy dust.
There's not it's not that some quasi think tank corporation has identified soulmate particles with a tricorder, and this is more of optimum companion. As far as the data can say.
And mandated, because once they see the benefits, whenever you're in a good relationship, things are working, people are happy, they're more content, they're more productive, they're living a better life.
I guess the year I had sex was just a delight to be around, I think anyway.
Okay.
I think I was much... Okay, second question then. Noting that this is not... there's one person in the whole world that they're identifying, but rather they're identifying the most optimum person. Therefore, they're doing it within realistic means of your ability to contact them. Yeah. What I mean by that is...
taking everything into account, their career, their goals, their aspirations, their location geographically, their in-laws. This is deep level stuff. Are you likely to get along with their parents? Do they have siblings that you're going to hate every time that there's a holiday? Okay. All of those things.
Great. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure this was not a situation where we join this service and they go, there's this woman, she's a rice farmer in China, she doesn't speak English.
Right. Good luck.
Good luck. That's only one for you.
Right.
And I'd be like, well, now I got to get to China.
Right.
There's that whole extradition thing.
She gets there, is very confused.
She's got to learn English, or I've got to learn Mandarin. But it's not that kind of thing. They're going to go, look, within the tri-state area, based on your geographic preferences of how far you're willing to travel and things like that. And
this human being wants to be living where you want to be living, your jobs, and are you traveling a lot? Are they comfortable with that? Do you want people to travel with you? Are they super independent? Do they want to travel with you and help your career? What's all those things are taken into account. Andrew, as much as things can be measured and put through a very advanced algorithm, they are identifying a soulmate for you. Mathematically, this person was built in a lab for you, but practically speaking, this is a real, living, breathing human being with their own wants, needs, and desires. They're not a robot who's being programmed to service you in all of the ways. But yes, this is a person.
Although that year I had a sex robot.
Right,
I have to say, I was an amazing year. I was a delight to be around. Okay, I do have to nail this down.
Yeah.
How trusting are we of this algorithm? And the reason I bring this up is Tinder, Hinge, all these different models. It would seem to me they're not paid based on when you have sex or you get married. They're paid based on you using the service.
Yes.
So there's already a perverse incentive built in where it would make more sense to keep you there very long.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're now working on that, but I don't have a lot of faith right now in dating apps.
Yeah.
So if you were to go, it's a dating app,
No.
but there's no competitors,
Right.
I would go, well, that sounds even worse to me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we in this universe,
This corporation is incentivized to really and truly find you the best long-term match, your soulmate. They have a track record, all of these 5-star reviews. Like, oh my gosh, they're profoundly good. Like, I didn't know a human being like you existed in the world. It seems like everything about you was made for me, and vice versa. You for them.
So I'm inclined to not hit the button,
Okay, very interesting. And then I don't want to.
but I want to play with it for a minute.
I don't want to overlook the fact that if you hit this button, nobody has a choice.
Right.
This is so
This is
good, so consistent.
This is the magic here. Is now you can only
there is no dating.
You can be by yourself, or you can go with a service,
There is no,
which I assume is affordable for everybody, or on a sliding scale or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is no longer like you grew up across the street from this girl next door who you had a huge crush on. It's like, unfortunately, that one's not for you. Like, you just got to wait until the appointed time where you and your soulmate are in the right moment to be introduced to each other.
Well, let's play with that for a minute.
Yeah.
So first of all, does everybody actually want the same thing? Would everybody define soulmate the same way?
No.
The reason I
Everybody's
ask this
very
is,
different, very unique, the
I
things
think-
that they want. Yeah.
I think our culture
Yeah.
really, really overplays the limerence of romance.
Yeah.
Limerence, as I understand it, being the
lovey-dovey butterflies.
the infatuated state,
Yes.
which by most measures is a transitory state. Like you
It's drugs.
fall in love with somebody.
You are
and
on
then
drugs when that's happening.
Love them, right? But very few people maintain. I'm not sure that I'm capable of having that for more than about 3 days.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because for most couples, they have what's called the honeymoon phase. And this isn't even necessarily married couples, but even couples that aren't married yet. It's a honeymoon phase. It's usually like 6 to 7, maybe 8 months on the outside. And then from 9 to 12 months, they move into what's called the attachment phase, where the butterflies, that was adorable while it lasted. Now, it's all about, compatibility and putting down some more stability, some roots, some understanding at a deeper level of each other. So while you don't have those swimmy feelings, you do have a little bit more of a deep, stable well of, what you're basing that relationship on, as opposed to just a bubbling brook of, oh my gosh, isn't this exciting?
And there's a no man's land in the middle. So in Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari, he talks about how there's a real danger spot in relationships about 1.5 years in because the novelty and the limerence have declined. You're no longer having crazy sex on your ottoman.
Right.
You've kind of got used to each other, but at the same time, you have not been together long enough to have developed that mature depth and trust. So you don't have the mature depth and trust to fall on, but also you no longer have the novelty, and you go, maybe this one's not for me.
Right.
So
Perpetually single, looking for that person.
so our culture, I think, really, really focuses on the limerence of it in a way that I don't think other cultures historically anybody ever did.
Yeah.
But I think in a lot of countries, I think that the marriage is still viewed as a sort of like you were forming a partnership within the family.
It's more of
this is about stability.
It's more of a business entity as opposed to a lovey-dovey adventure.
Right. I'm really shooting from the hip here, but like a lot of Indian families organize marriages,
arranged
for them,
marriages.
Right?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
And it appears to be a lot less of like one would assume that they're going to try and find you a hot wife, but that is fairly low on the totem pole of to really borrow a bunch of metaphors here.
I would be having constant conversations with my parents if it's like, no, really, make her hot. Yeah.
See, but this is a benefit to the algorithm because I think everybody would actually be very it would be useful for dudes for Google to sit down and go, hi. 6.3. And I go, really?
Yeah.
Better rearrange. Okay, so not Margot Robbie? No.
Unless, and this is the unfortunate thing that anecdotally I've seen time and time again, and I think it's a direct symptom of porn being so pervasive is, mostly guys, quite frankly, who, if you're doing a really crass score from 1 to 10 of attractiveness, of just at a glance, guys are being like 4, 5, 6, just very average level of attractiveness. They are very lonely. And if you ask them, like, who are you looking for? They start naming attributes and characteristics of like 8s and 9s, and they'll point to, it's like, but this guy over here but that's 1 of 1,000, man. Like, that's not life.
Yeah.
And they've spent their whole life being alone.
I would love for Google to be like, listen, Heaton, you look like a cartoon character wandered out of Roger Rabbit's town.
Yeah.
You're pushing 40, like, go for peg legs. That's kind of you're kind of like this. Let's be realistic here.
Right.
You go for peg legs, okay? And I'd be like, maybe I go for okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So I can see some benefit to that, to like have it right. So my initial impulse is to go that I don't know. You want to one-up me here? Is the algorithm going for whatever you want as opposed to a collective algorithm, by which I mean are like traditional Indian families going to have the algorithm just do what they were going to do better, whereas the person who wants to find their soulmate and fall in love and drive off into the sunset, that's going to be their thing, and like everybody's going to have their own thing?
The soulmate, by that I mean an actual long-term, stable, solid relationship, not what's going to be the most in this moment, like, it's exciting and satisfying and just the hottest thing that will phase out. It's like, no, it's taking into account what's going to be the best long-term compatibility with this human being. Where you still want attractiveness, but it's not, oh my gosh, that is like a 10 out of 10. That's the person I'm going to be with. But you 2 weeks later, you realize this is a horrible human being that I cannot stand to be around. No, aiming for long-term compatibility. So the goals are aligned.
Okay. All right. The next question, because sounds pretty good. Sounds like on balance, people would be happier. They, I don't know when this is going to come out, but I just spoke to David Brooks on my show, The Political Orphanage, Chiron, where he wrote a book on connection recently, and we've talked about this several times on this program. But the level of loneliness in the country is abysmal. Like, it's really, really gotten much worse. Like, just from like 2000 on, all of the data is like, I think in 2014 like about half the country spent 6 hours a week with close friends, and that's now dropped to 3 hours a week. Like, there's a lot of very lonely people out there. The people that don't have a romantic partner increased by like 30%, something like that. Like a significant amount of people.
No, it is a loneliness epidemic for sure.
Who would like to have a romantic partner, but don't have a romantic partner. Right. So far, this sounds pretty good to me. Like, I know you're playing with my inner, like, Barry Goldwater forcing people to do things. So yes, there is this like force ghost of a libertarian behind me saying compulsion. But when I'm very good at making angels leave when I'm thinking things and drinking.
Yes.
And I'm going, I don't see I see the philosophical downside to this of limiting people's options. But in terms of the actual like cards on the table bit, I'm not seeing the downsides. Can you walk me through?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not.
Wait. Okay, quick. Here's a question.
Go ahead.
This is the only means by which we can find anybody now. Yeah. So like, I am.
It'd be really sucky if there's like an odd number of people in the universe. It's like, sorry, you're the
Google
last one.
Hey, all the peg legs are taken. You didn't act fast enough.
Yeah.
We do think that there'll be some widows coming up in about 6 years. But until then,
they're looking pretty good.
There's actually a Cistercian monastery nearby if you wanted to. Okay, so theoretically, this is for soulmate purposes. Is all romance obliterated outside of this? That is to say, like, if I am 15 and in a summer camp, can I fall in love with a gal where both of us know that it's just the summer camp and that it's this sweet moment in our lives where we're not getting married? Is all romance obliterated outside of this one venue?
I don't think so. Okay. Let's say no, but also knowing that, past sexual history and experiences that will start limiting the soulmates that are presented to you in the future. Because that's one of the things that's very important to people. Is like, well, what's your past look like? I mean, have you gone through like 100 different dudes? Look, you live in a very specific kind of world.
I do.
And especially
again, Roger Rabbit's cartoon world.
Especially for guys, they will tell you until they're blue in the face. It doesn't matter. You know what? You girl, you live your best life. But if you get it, like pull them aside, it's like, no, really, would you rather date a girl that's been railed through a couple hundred times or someone that has, fairly limited experience? And almost every guy on planet Earth was like, yeah, please don't rail the woman that I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with. I want very little experience. Like virginity was prized for, generations upon generations because that's very important to most men. Now,
I think this is a weird construct. I don't think this is an innate thing. I think this is a cultural thing.
I think this is,
and I think I've out-evolved from our culture.
I completely beg to differ. I think absolutely this is an innate thing. Yes,
why?
I think men, because of their protective nature, whenever they bring in a female partner, that protection expands to that female partner. Now, the fact that there's things that happened in that female partner's life that precluded them meeting doesn't matter. Stuck his dick in my girl. It's like it was 5 years before I knew you existed. Don't care. Fucking hate that guy. I'm gonna whoop his ass. That's a very primitive, innate, instinctual thing that is in most guys. Yes.
I'm okay.
I know. Every time I have conversations with you about this, even off camera, you're like, "How is this?
The young lady who was kind enough to usher me into manhood?
Right.
I'm still friends with her and her husband. Right. Like I have dinner with them a couple times a year, and like I don't imagine she's ever like graphically described what I imagined was a horrible intro.
Here's the difference. If you pulled that husband aside and he was forced to, maybe go back to the thing where he's not allowed to lie, and you're forced to answer honestly. Hey, would you rather you lived in a world where I didn't nail your wife, or would you rather you keep living in a world where I totally nailed your wife? What would you prefer?
Or, because I'm a uniter, not a divider, I would go to balance this out.
Everybody get in a pile.
We're going to have sex. That way, no awkwardness.
Yeah, so
that's how you solve things.
So my
people.
point is, it isn't like beating your chest like ape-level primitive. I'm going to kick his ass in the street. But like in the back of most guys' heads, it's like if you're meeting an ex-boyfriend, there's a kind of like gritting of the teeth like, fuck, you got my girl like that?
You think that's rooted in a protective instinct?
Yes, absolutely. Territorial is protective. It's basically, this person is my partner who I protect and look out for. You don't, and again, it's always funny to me whenever you have this just perplexed. You're perplexed. It's like, why do guys think this way? That's not been my life experience at all. Andrew, I'm telling you, the next time we have a relevant conversation, I'll bring the numbers. I know you're a data guy. I will bring the numbers. I will bring the blind studies. I will bring the candid interviews where people are describing what their true preferences are.
Well, I'm not saying that this doesn't exist. I'm saying that I think that this. I'm thinking that's probably more of a social construct. So guys prefer younger women over older women, and we're making amoral statements about just how people are wired. Male sexuality is going to be geared towards fertility more than non-fertility. So that I think is innate, right? Yeah. Or regardless of gender, symmetry indicates everything's working very well. Clear skin indicates no lesions, things like that. So there are things that I think are evolutionarily rooted. But I'm thinking that might be like a property thing.
Okay, let's bring it to evolutionary biology. Okay, with men, yes, it's about propagating and spreading your seed and all this stuff. With women, one of the reasons why instinctively as men, we don't want our woman to go out into the world and just get railed left and right is because throughout all of human history, we needed to know that kid was mine. Because once again, I am expending my resources, my protection, and if that's not my kid, what are we doing here? They need to know that, yes, this is of me, because that desire to propagate, to reproduce and have another little tiny version of you carry your lineage into the future, if that's not actually your kid, instinctively, in a very, very visceral, primitive level, yes, we want that to be our kid. So that's why, even biologically, we want...
Listen. Yeah. At my sex cult... You don't know who's your kid.
Right.
You look out for everybody's kid.
You do have the wonkiest sex cult of all the sex cults.
Come over for Christmas Carol night. We do a sing-along every week at my sex cult.
Yeah, you hang the mistletoe in the weirdest places.
Except for Flesh Pile Tuesday. It's very wholesome. It's basically like just Prairie Home Companion, except a lot of dong on Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to put a pin in that one for right now.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It's okay. I'll come back.
Wait, just so I'm understanding. The idea would be somebody with that engaged in promiscuity prior to meeting me would indicate promiscuity in general, which would indicate lack of confidence in offspring.
No, not necessarily. They could have a relationship with you, and then, this is my person. I forego all other options. It's not like, they're going to be a slut and maybe step out once they get to know you. But I'm saying that it does limit the options of people that would be okay with this woman being identified as your soulmate. Once they know that, oh my gosh, you were really, really, really promiscuous back in the day, that will turn off a lot of guys. It's like, oh, that's not my person. My person, they're not going to have that kind of long track record of experiences that,
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. So they absolutely could be faithful. They're fully capable of doing that,
Okay. All right. I buy that. A lot of guys, if not most guys, fall into that persuasion. I think I will.
Most guys
pull myself out of that one. But
most, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So getting back to the central thesis here, can you walk me through other than you were restricting things? So I brought up the summer camp deal. Mm-hmm. You can have a nice temporary love.
Yeah. Nobody's wearing chastity belts here. We live in the real world. Yeah.
So you could theoretically just date somebody casually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
But you both know in the back of your head that whenever it comes time to, settle down, we can choose an arbitrary year, like maybe you're 30 years old or something, or 25 years old.
Okay, you're making this sound better and better. Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the big problems I have is I get so into my head about stuff that I end up precluding otherwise healthy relationships. Because
let's talk about that.
I will like my last 3 girlfriends. Like this is like a trend that I noticed. I met. I started dating them right when I left a city or right when I moved to a city. Mm-hmm. And I think what happened was they snuck up on me in a very healthy way.
Okay.
Where I am in a city and I'm dating and I'm like putting a spotlight on future Mrs. Heaton, right? And everything withers beneath the spotlight. There's so much neuroticism and analysis going in that I can't just enjoy the moment for what it is. But I move to a new town and I meet some fun person and we start dating very casually. And then after a month, I'm like, oh, I think I might be your boyfriend. And that hadn't occurred to me, right? Yeah. So what I have found in the past, I think, is that I will become so analytical and I will think so far. It'll be like second date and I'm like, I don't think I could have grandkids with this person. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, that's it's too early for me to be making that. It's far too presumptive. I think that there are a number of very healthy relationships I would have had that would have been very positive if we'd both gone in going, we're just here for the summer. We're going to have a really nice time. And we're going to be done in June. And then what a magic moment. I think this system so far, I'd have a bunch of proto-relationships were far healthier where everybody knew what the expectations were. And I find Mrs. Right. This is great.
Okay. So,
who railed 300 times. Fine with. I love everything about her.
Andrew Heaton laying that pipe. Come on.
No. I mean, prior to me. It's not a big issue.
So a few different things. The way that, again, I'm talking broad strokes here in general, because everybody's like, well, what about this? Or I'm not like that. Or I have a friend who was like, okay, fine, exceptions. We're talking about generalities here. And in general, your scenario where it's like, hey, we're going to have a good time. We're going to explore each other in the most fun and interesting ways. And then in June, we're done. For most guys, they can do that. Most women, not all, but most women, they catch the feelings. It is a different exchange. For guys, it's a physical act more than anything. And there's some connection here. But the emotional bonding that happens with women, that's at a deeper level. And so it's not going to be the same kind of casual dalliance for them as it would be for you. So you can call the shot of, hey, you know what, in June we're kind of done. She'll go okay, cool. But come around June, it's a different situation. So you aren't immune to having all the drama and the nonsense.
What I was just thinking is this terrifying world you're describing where all parties know about this and it's backed up by Google. Very different than our current world where this never happens and men compartmentalize sex and relationships and have short-term relationships and rebounds. Can you imagine if that were going on at the moment?
My only point is it's not as clean as,
Would it be? I think it would be cleaner though, right? Because right now,
well, yes, there would be clarity.
Inherent ambiguity. And that one, no no ambiguity because we
it
know
would
we're
be-
not going to wind up together. So we know it's temporary.
Yeah, but sometimes logic doesn't always fall into place when it comes to relationships, Andrew. So you can call the shot of June,
Sure.
and everybody's like, yeah.
Does everybody in this world agree, like acknowledge the logic of this magical algorithm you've designed? Because I think that like
It's a very well done algorithm. Yeah.
okay, it seems to me
It has to be well
I
done
think
if
this would
people
be-
are obligated to use this as the only access to getting a soulmate.
I think this would be cleaner. Also, the current success rate in our present system seems to
not
be
good.
pretty low.
It's not good,
So
yeah.
I'm thinking like, man, if I'm adopting the button position here, I'm
Yeah.
playing offense. You're playing defense. So your system sucks. Current reality blows.
Well,
so like this,
I didn't say I wouldn't push the button. I could totally push the button too.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
we're talking to
you
these
tend
are
to be
two single guys
You tend
here.
to be button hesitant.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So what are the downside is
unless it's a topic where it would piss people off for me to push the button, then I'm all over the button.
So you can casually date somebody temporarily. You could do a meet cute. There's just no
But everybody knows. Yeah.
that like but it's just
But
sort of like
if they didn't meet each other through this service, this algorithm, this
you can't
this
be
app,
together.
Then you both know like this is not
like you,
long
you,
for this
you can't
world.
get married unless you get approved through the service.
Yeah.
And all dating venues that are in any way formalized, like dating apps
Yeah.
or like speed dating or whatever.
Well, and also keep in mind,
singles
like,
bars.
to
Those
the
are all abolished.
Yeah, to the extent that you throw yourself into this world of, dating and interfacing and sparking up relationships and having all these experiences and potential drama and trauma is a big word that's being thrown around a lot now, of things that didn't work out, like toxic blah, 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 because they weren't meant for you. And that does, every time you go through one of these experiences, it does limit more and more who's going to be the most compatible soulmate for you. So there is something to be said for the value of experience, but at a certain point, if you are going into relationships haphazardly, it's like, man, you're just having a long line of messy, complicated, convoluted, overly dramatic, like the things that I'm allergic to, right? I never get involved in drama. You can't touch me with a 10-foot pole. And like, if there was a girl that, I was potentially a really good fit for, and I knew that, oh my gosh, there's ex-boyfriends and there's all this drama and there's all this trauma, there's all this stuff that's just making it so messy and convoluted. Like that's not for me, because I don't want to deal with that in my relationship. I have 3 very simple criteria. Am I attracted to the person? Like physically, is that attraction there?
Some kind of base chemistry.
Yeah. Do we have fun together? And can we communicate well? That's it. If we know how to communicate, which is surprisingly rare, man, to be able to communicate at a deep level, not just like casual banter. We met for coffee and we had a good conversation about the latest Netflix series that came out, but like a deep level conversation and communication. If we're compatible at that level, we're attracted to each other, and we have fun together, dude, those criteria, if you have those 3 things in a relationship, that's as good as it gets as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yeah. What are you looking for in a relationship?
I think pretty similar, actually. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that there needs to be that chemistry. There have been several people where I think online dating's also made this weird.
Yeah.
Where you'll look at them and you're like, this person looks great, like checks all the right boxes and clearly very attractive, and then you meet them and you're like,
Yeah.
smell weird. Like I don't like I could tell you're hot, but it's not.
Right.
There's some both of you were like, yeah. So should we get a pizza? Like you're both like clearly
Right.
not into it.
Right.
I think that's a thing. I think the fun bit's very high. Like I'm intelligent and bubbly are kind of 2 high things for me. I want somebody. My love language is joking around.
Yeah.
Bits. My love language is bits.
Yeah.
So I want somebody that I can joke around with and pal around with and like laugh with.
Yeah.
And then when we get kind of tired of that, I want somebody that's smart to talk to.
Yeah.
So those are the.
So there's different kinds of intelligence. What's the manifestation? What's the version of intelligence that you're talking about?
Well, like humor and bullshitting.
Okay.
Those are the 2 things that.
Yeah.
So like we're like, man, this is a good point. Like, yeah, Kant or whatever. I don't know. This scenario would be right, but like being able to oscillate between. Funny, we're improvising in our house or whatever.
Yeah.
To like being able to, we read books this week. What was your book about? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you're attracted to each other, and then dude, that's kind of it's interesting how difficult it is, because from my perspective, I try not to project out onto other people a prescription for what would make a good relationship for them. But from my perspective, like, how do those three things not result in just amazing compatibility long term and chemistry in the moment if you are attracted to a person, you have fun together, and you have really good communication? Like, there's that, the level of intelligence, you're on the same wavelength, I guess is another way of describing it. It's interesting how increasingly rare and difficult it is for people to find those three things. Or do you think they're overcomplicating it? Because you were saying earlier, it's like you're overthinking. Is that, you think you're thinking your way out of relationships that could very easily check those three boxes?
I think I overthink it.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is I think that like I had I say string. There were several like kind of, I don't know, medium length relationships, like 6 month to a year relationships that I had with ladies that I met as I was leaving or entering a place.
Yeah.
The relationship prior to that was a longer relationship. We'd lived together. And so I think when I would meet gals, when I was rooted in a city and I was actively looking for a new girlfriend, is my dumb brain would meet somebody and be like, cute, fun, not the same level of emotional depth of the woman that I just broke up with, who I lived with. And it's like, well, of course not. There would not be that. You're not going to have that level of emotional depth with anybody. So I think that I was overthinking it to my detriment, to where
you're always comparing them to previous.
So like I think for me, what I have to do, and I've talked to a couple of girlfriends about this, is like I am interested in pairing up and having kids and marrying. These are very high priorities for me. But I kind of, in order to facilitate that, have to do this Zen move where like I'm trying real hard not to overthink it, because I will probably kick the legs out from under the ladder before I can get up on the ladder. And it might very well be that like 3 months in, when we're just goofing around, I go, oh, this could work. Whereas if I'm thinking about, could this work from date number one, I'm not going to let it breathe enough, and I will end up snuffing out relationships that could have worked.
Okay, I'm going to say something that could potentially ruin your life or be helpful. We'll see.
Okay.
One of the things that I recently heard, it was in the last year, and the more that I thought about it and now applied this idea to my past relationships and my recent marriage, the more that I absolutely agree with this statement. The vast majority of people that get into relationships that don't work out, they knew within the first 10 minutes that there's something that eventually is not going to be compatible. Now, I don't want you to take that idea and run with it and be like, any little nitpicky thing that you come up with, is like, no, like on a fundamental level, like on a structural level.
I've had that where I dated a gal, and like very early on I was like, something's not firing.
Yeah.
But a wonderful person that I really liked, that I was like, but I really want this to work out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really try at this.
Right.
Was like, well, like I'm pretty dumb. Maybe that gut instinct, I can logic my way out of it. I'll Mr. Data my no.
Yeah.
And so I've experienced that. The problem I find is, conversely, going back to the beginning of this conversation of you should be dating the peg leg, like, so your visceral thing's going,
like,
why can't I date a model who's an astronaut?
There's 2.5 women listening to this with peg legs going, yes.
Your gut is stupid. That's why you're not gonna. You're like your Harvard Margot Robbie astronaut characters dotted your world. Banish that from the thoughts, right?
Yeah.
But that also is like a gut thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's being able to go, okay, well, my gut's wrong in that instance, but in this instance, my gut's right. So it's hard for me to adjudicate that, because I have experienced that before.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, just drawing on my longest relationship, 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
For the most part.
Can I ask you a personal question? We can cut this if you want.
Sure.
So like we're defining soulmate as the ultimate companion,
the best option
companion
out there. Yeah. Not a magical fairy dust thing, but the best option in existence.
I read most of my dating advice came from Amy Poehler's biopic. Yes, please.
Okay.
And Amy Poehler says this thing.
We're identifying where you've gone wrong today.
Yeah, I think Amy Poehler, very talented comedian, was married to Will Arnett for a while.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily categorize her as relationship consultant. But
well, okay, but here's the thing that I think this is years ago when I read it.
Yeah.
But I'm reading it, and she was getting a divorce with Will Arnett, I think, as she was writing the book, and she said that she didn't like the phrase that our marriage failed. She didn't like the use failure. That she looked at it, she was like, the fact that our marriage ended did not make it a failure. That this was something that was very good, that like kids came out of, and it was good. It just ended. That's it. Like in the same way that like I don't live in New York anymore, but I don't view my time living in New York as a failure.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you view your 18-year relationship? Was this a good thing that had a lifespan to it? Was it a thing you shouldn't have started on and you kept going for 18 years? Was it a thing that that you could have worked at and failed? Like, how do you view this?
So double speak. I'm going to say two things that don't make sense, but it's something that I should not have started, but it's something that I do not regret.
Okay.
Yeah, it was within the first 10 minutes of meeting each
Really?
other and being in the same presence. Ours was being on the same wavelength in the communication, and in your head, if you're going to logic your way through, it's like, well, I can figure out how to learn how to best communicate with this person and vice versa. And at the end of the day, I mean, some people are just so fundamentally different, and how they just need to exchange information and how they take in information that you never are on the same level. You're constantly like two ships passing in the night. You can never make that connection. Attracted to each other, had fun with each other. And, good communication. I mean, in the dating phase, whenever you're like in your early 20s, like, oh yeah, we communicate. We say stuff to each other all the time, right? It's like, that's not it. And I think it's I don't think there's an elegant way out of this problem, but I don't think you really understand how to communicate well until you're at least in your late 20s, early 30s about what it truly means to have that deeper level of connection and understanding with another human being. And it was a situation that should I have found a different person and should she have found a different person to begin a lifelong relationship with? Yeah. Do I regret it? No, because we had a lot of amazing times, a lot of good memories. We put together a great life. It wasn't abusive or toxic. There was no drama. There was no, money ridiculousness. We didn't cheat on each other.
You like your kids?
Yeah. My kids are amazing. I have 3 fantastic kids.
I like most of them.
Yeah. That one though. Oh my God.
I'm not, the one though.
No, my kids are great. And that's been both of our biggest priority coming out of our marriages. Like, how to make sure that the kids aren't messed up. And as amicable as these things could be, it's still a very stressful process. It's done with now.
I can't imagine, but all of my breakups have been incredibly amicable.
Yeah.
Like all of like proper capital G girlfriends that like I've dated have been like crying on each other and
Right.
like still not friends with all of them, but it's not because there's rancor there. They just don't want to be friends with an ex. But like I'm open. And as amicable as these situations which involve no children, no property, like not shared friend groups, they were horrendous. I cannot imagine going through a divorce. That level of torsion strikes me as horrible.
Well, the thing that I think was the most important decision that we both made was obviously our life is going in separate directions, but we have 3 kids and these kids need stability. So we both made peace with the fact that they're going to stay in the same house. They're going to go to the same school. They're not going to have a different standard of living or anything. Like, all of that's going to be the exact same to normalize it as much as possible. And I just don't live in the house anymore, but I'm seeing them way more than the standard, amount that, a dad gets to see his kids. We negotiated where I'm seeing my kids with more intentional quality time now. This is a very weird thing to say, but more intentional quality time now that I'm no longer married to their mom than I did whenever I was living in the house, because there was this, everybody retreat to your separate corners. I'm going to go to my office. Right. Like, we're
playing fetch.
Right.
Get the softball. No, we're playing. Get the fucking softball. We're bonding.
Yeah.
We've got an hour.
But no, we go out to dinners. Last night I was with them. We had, I went to the house. We had pizza. We watched movies. And then we're doing this thing that is kind of rare, but not unheard of. It's called nesting, to where I will come and stay in the house. It's a nice size house.
Yeah.
I have a big office upstairs. There's a king size bed in there. So that's where I'm sleeping. And then she'll go and stay at a friend's house every other week. So I'm, spending every other weekend at my previous house with my kids. They're in their own room. So then I was like, okay, let's go see dad in a shitty apartment.
I think that's great, man. That sounds I think that's like really mature and loving and wonderful. Like, I'm glad to hear that that's how that's going.
Yeah, no, it's you look at the horror stories of how marriage, affects, mental health and the kids' well-being, and it's just a tug of war of horseshit and emotions and finances. We're not dealing with that, which is great. At the same time, you were saying, Amy Poehler, and like, our marriage didn't fail; it just ended. I disagree. I think once you get to the point of marriage, I see it as, okay, this is my person. for as long as I am on this earth. And I see it as, my marriage failed. Absolutely. If I had made a different choice, if we had both made different choices earlier, we could, likely have been in relationships that didn't eventually fail. But it didn't just end; it failed.
A couple of immediate follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm very curious. Like, I'm glad to hear you're nesting with your ex-wife. This situation.
Yeah.
What is your relationship? What is the ideal relationship with your ex-wife? You're co-parenting. Are you friends? Are you going to be friends?
I would love that. It's still relatively new. Right? It's like navigating, well, what's it like whenever I bring around somebody that I'm dating for the first time? And so, we're less than a year going through this process.
And I don't think either of you will, if my very shallow dating life is in any way qualitatively similar to what you're going through, you won't really be able to be friends until you've both had another relationship under your belt where you've unplugged from that outlet and plugged into a different one.
Yeah.
But it is my hope for you that you can maintain some of that intimacy in a different form.
Sure. Yeah. I would love to reach that point where we're not only just amicable and we're okay being in the same room, it's fine, but it's also, we're not going out of our way to talk to each other and chat and catch up.
Can I tell you a sweet breakup story?
Yeah.
So freshman year of college, crazy about this girl named Katie, was nuts about her, absolute infatuation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Incredibly, the most up and down relationship I've ever been in because it was freshman year.
Yeah.
I think the only time I've ever screamed at
remind me of my freshman year story
while in a
too, but go ahead,
relationship and I think we broke up and got together 5 times. Practically Italian. But it was the rest of college. While we didn't hate each other, oh my God, the tenderness that was there was so. I mean, I could barely look at her because it was such just an intense longing for that feeling.
Yeah.
And this being 2004, we were listening to a lot of Coldplay, which was in the vogue with the kids back then.
Yep.
Anyway, cut to. New York City, maybe 5 years ago, I'm doing a sketch show, and it's a ridiculous sketch show that involves a lot of bananas. I think it's set at a banana plantation or something.
Okay.
And so at the end of it, we were going to all come out to the song "Yellow" by Coldplay.
Okay.
And I was dreading this because I was that's the song we used to listen to.
Oh, no.
in her bed in her dorm room. This is going to bring up all these horrible memories for me.
Right.
And big night happens. We do the ridiculous. I think I played anyway. We did it. They started playing "Yellow," and I was amazed to discover. I was truly amazed by this.
Yeah.
That all the bad stuff had been forgotten. The only stuff that remained behind was the sweet stuff. That all of the anguish and oh, she doesn't love me, but I love her, and all of that stuff. It was just the nice stuff.
Yeah.
And I called her. We were still in vague contact, and
right.
she's back in Oklahoma. So I called her and was like, "Hey, you want to get coffee?" I think she was engaged at the time, and I made very clear this is
not trying to rekindle anything.
Yeah. But I told her that, and I went, I just as I told you, and I went, I want you to know that I think there is some part of me that is always going to love you, and that I look back at that very tumultuous period of our lives now as such a gift that I got to enjoy, and I'm just. I'm always there. And we started crying, we hugged each other. And we're not in regular contact, but about once a year, she'll just text me to be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And I'll text her, and it's this weird relationship where, again, married kids.
Sure.
But if she called me and was like, "I'm in trouble," I'd be like, "All right. I got this, right?"
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like that love was able to translate into something very healthy.
So that's interesting. Do you think it was contextually this moment where Yellow is going to be the centerpiece experience in this skit, and there's an audience and all this other stuff that forced you to come to terms with what was once a very negative association with this song? Do you think it was that moment that made you reassociate it with a more positive experience? I'm curious, what was the trigger? What was the mechanism that caused you to associate this song with, the world so down, so much depression, and so much struggling and strife? Well, and when you in this skit, you're like, hey, it's nothing but good times. It was because you were forced to experience this in a relatively positive situation?
So I'll say the negative feelings that it wasn't that we were toxic or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just
sad.
It was just that, the heightened
tragic
feelings that you have when you're in your 20s and I'm in love with you, but we can't be together. Or this week I'm in love with you and you're with a different guy. And next week you're in love. So it's that incredible, Les Mis, the blonde's going off of the stagecoach and the other guy's going to go die in the, like
Yeah.
because we're in love with each other. That kind of thing. My read on it is that over time, the bad feelings just didn't have as much staying power, and that they atrophied of their own accord, and it left behind this nice platonic core of the good stuff. And that one of the few benefits we get to aging, I think, is that the good stuff lasts longer. And that if you, I don't know if you've got a contextual, I never thought about it to this moment, but in my case anyway, I waited long enough that only the good stuff was left behind and all the bad stuff just flitted away. And I get to have those nice memories.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I mean, my freshman story of a relationship is much more simple and shallow is the word that I'll say. Yeah. There's no epic song and, star-aligned love affair. No, it was in high school. Previously in high school, there was this girl that I never had classes with, but was very attracted to. And she was always friends of friends. And what limited interactions we would have with each other, it was like, oh, this is kind of an amazing person. Like, we're on the same wavelength. We have the same sense of humor. This is great. Like, I would love to, hopefully some classes line up. Never did. Went through all of high school and never really had an opportunity to, develop that relationship. So fast forward, going to college. I'm talking to a buddy from high school because we're still talking to our high school friends at that point, freshman year in college. And I was like, hey, I'm chatting with Kelly. You remember her? I was like, oh, yeah. Where's she going to school? Same school. It's like, no shit. Give me the thing. I'll chat her up. So I chat with Kelly. And then, the next night we're going to a movie. And then what happened was what I very fondly describe as the summer of me. Yeah. So imagine. Texas State is in San Marcos, Texas. And too poor to afford, cable TV. All right. But you're between Austin and San Antonio, so you got both channels at the time, back when antennas existed. This is how long ago we're talking. Yeah. So in the summer of me, my favorite show in the world was The Simpsons. This was when The Simpsons was at its peak, like the best quality. And then I have this new girlfriend who was a very, very long-term high school crush that I'd abandoned all hope of ever getting to know. And that preceding summer, I had this giant apartment all to myself, with a beautiful view because my best friend and his brother pieced out and went back home. Didn't tell me. Left me with this fucking huge rent. I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. It's this huge apartment. Kelly walks in, sees my sprawling palace of an apartment, this beautiful view. We have 4 episodes of Simpsons a day. Nothing but movies and sex and just all the best food for an entire summer. It was amazing. It was the greatest in the world. And then I realized after 3 months, I don't really like this person. And I think it was once again the communication side of it, because whenever something's new and fresh, you can have these very casual, like, yeah, we're talking, it's communicating, right? But not really, not on like that deeper level of understanding of the creature, the unique, weird, wonderful creature that's in front of me right now, to understand them at an intimate level, so that at its best, the way I would describe it is you don't even have to speak, and just at a glance what that other person is thinking. So it wasn't there, and in that relationship, I was like, okay, well, we're attracted, we have fun, but I'm in college. Like, let's just call it. And it was messy, and she didn't feel the same way. It was a whole thing, but that previous summer was freaking phenomenal. But I think of the 3 things that we're talking about, funness and having fun and communicating and being attracted to each other. Fun and attraction, those are the easy, obvious ones. The communication one, that's the sticking point, man. What's been your experience as the reason why? Is it it's fun initially and then the fun wears off, or the attractiveness, you're trying to will yourself to be attractive because on paper they're
I'll get back to me, but I do have one question for you on your marriage, which again, if pull the ripcord if you wanted to. You said that with your marriage, you knew very early on that you shouldn't have been in this.
In the first 10 minutes, and again in the early 20s,
yeah,
like, you don't know that's an actual red flag. You just know, like, oh, we should like communication. Everybody says if you can communicate, you can do anything. It's like we're talk real good. Like you don't understand what actual intimate, deep level communication is.
I guess what I'm trying to piece, it sounds like you're saying there's a kind of like internal resonancy that you've got to get right. So it's not like a set of like interests or qualities.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is like.
Can I describe it in a really like frou-frou kind of way?
Yeah.
You know, whenever people are in harmony and like they're singing and like the voices, there's this resonance where the sum of those two things is greater than the two things. They're in harmony with each other. That's the kind of communication where you are talking to each other, but there is like what's being said, the subtext of what's not being said, and you both very clearly understand exactly what you're saying to each other, and you both have complete permission to explore that subtext where there's no like boundaries or limitations where it would be weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the reason I ask is, okay, so it's like resonance versus being off key. There's something fundamental to it.
Yeah, off key. Yeah.
That's very useful because like I've had like I had a girlfriend, a couple of girlfriends ago. Very fun, got along with very well, great chemistry, zero interests, zero interest overlap, zero conversational overlap. Conversation was very stilted. Smart person, just completely different orientation.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out at the time, I was like, well, it'd be weird if I was like, all of my friends have to like Star Trek. And I was like, well, they don't have to because I've got plenty of friends that like Star Trek. So like, I don't know if you even like Star Trek, right? It doesn't have to be a thing.
I like Star Trek. I'm a Picard guy.
Great. Good. Okay. Yeah. But again, we could keep doing this. And so I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, like, is this a thing where like the conversational interests come from my friends, but the home life stability comes from my partner?
Yeah.
In retrospect, I don't think that was ever going to work out. I think there needed to be more overlap for that to be fun. We needed to be able to not immediately be silent at a restaurant. We needed to have something.
No, I think you at least need to have similar worldviews and goals, but whether or not you're interests, like you like the same bands, you like the same movies, like all of those kind of superficial things. People, they change their favorite movie, they change their favorite band.
So you're not thinking of it as attributes. You're thinking of it as resonance.
Yes,
there's something fundamental. Okay,
right.
It's a very interesting mental model that I will contemplate.
Yeah, and I think it, coming out of that, the summer of me, which is like, dude, oh my God, so good. And then like an 18-year marriage, it was that lack of resonance I think is going to be a more helpful word to your point than communication, because people are like, I communicate, we talk about stuff, but no, it's having that unfiltered, unbridled level of communication where you're not over communicating, because oh my gosh, like most guys, whenever women want to talk about, and this again, generalities, but most guys, whenever women want to over communicate about what they're feeling and what they're struggling with, most guys are just like, that's not really helping me. I understand. I'm here for you. It's going to help you. But most guys are just kind of like waiting because you don't get to help. Again, I'm speaking generalities, right?
No, I'm just
cancel me. It's fine. I'm speaking generalities. But most guys, they want to fix it, and most women don't want you to jump in and fix it.
They've become better in their relationship. But like maybe 10 years ago, it was really funny to watch my mom and my brother.
Yeah.
Because mom would come home and be like, oh, "You'll never imagine what Linda said to me," or something. I'm just picking a random name.
Freaking Linda.
I don't want to get like, if Bob has a friend named Linda, it's not you. But I'm picking. But like my brother would be like, ugh, we've heard this 3 times. You should quit being friends with her. I'm going to make a graph of actionable steps you could make, so that we could solve this and put it behind us. Like Dad would be like, your mom, when she talks about a problem, she wants to taste it and roll around in it and wear it and share it with you, and you try that on and taste it. Like it's just experiential for her.
Yeah.
And Adam's like, nope, we'll make a graph. And then we can be done with it and never deal with it again. And which is like, no, absolutely not. What
that is not what most guys should be doing. Just listen, let them talk about it, and then if you try to fix it, it's like, what are you doing? I don't need you to fix it. Just listen. I'm fully capable of fixing it if I want to fix it.
So going back to the button here,
yeah.
I'm seeing mostly up on net balance.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the algorithm's a good thing because you can still have a fling, but everybody knows it's a fling, and you are guaranteed to know who is the best fit.
Yeah.
I'm also thinking like when you're
for them too. I think is
yes, because you're on like 2 or 3 dates and maybe you're like, this might be the one, and the other person's like, ooh,
right.
The other person's like, well,
and
here I am.
Everything before that. Pro and con, all the experiences that you have, everybody has that clarity. Now, whether or not you have those experiences and then both people can walk away scot-free without drama and, nonsense and mess cluttering up their life,
but I'm thinking what great, like right now, where if you're going on dates, to a great extent, I mean, you're assessing, is this person compatible with me? Is there long-term compatibility here? You're both, in a sense, going on a prolonged job interview.
Yeah.
We hit that button.
Yeah.
No, you just you sit down
You
and
got
go,
the
wow,
job.
we're the thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, real quick, and I know we're probably nearing the end of our podcast for this topic, but do you think that would rob your relationship with your soulmate from the lovey-dovey? Because you live a life until you get to the soulmate moment. It's like, okay, well, this is what we're doing now. This is what we're obligated to do. And then you just settle into kind of like how arranged marriages work in India, right? It's like there would be no sparks, really. There'd be like an initial, I'm so curious what they look like. It's like, oh, okay, that's what we're working with.
I think that is the kind of bullshit an 18-year-old should be discussing. I think for a 40-year-old, like,
Right.
I'm going to hit that button and immediately get a joint mortgage for a home.
Right.
Like, come in here. What was your name? Becky? Great. Come here. Come fucking sign this. Like, I want to jump in. Like, you already got a couple kids. Fucking awesome. Great. Okay, let's do this. Yeah. No, don't give a shit about that. No, I get to have a soulmate who's the best person in the world for me, according to all the greatest minds building AI smarter than
Right.
And oh, I don't get butterflies in my stomach. Fuck that. Yes.
All right. Hey, with that said, be my guest. Andrew Eaton, congratulations. You have a soulmate. Definitely. That's not really a fake thing that we just made up.
Thanks.
Yep. Where can people find more of you?
Wait, hold on. Are you going to push it or not? I can't. Okay. Okay. Interesting. All right.
I touched it. I touched it. The only thing I'm uncomfortable about is in this world that's even a little bit realistic for this soulmate finding service, if it's going to come from a business corporation that has it in your best interest. That's how they make money. Your best interest to find actually your best option out there around the world, because everybody's obligated to do this. The fact that it's a corporation and the fiduciary duties of a corporation, as long as those interests align with me and my happiness, great. The moment that they find a business model that isn't necessarily finding my best soulmate, it's just the one that's going to get them a bigger bottom line, I become wildly uncomfortable with that. But other than that, I think it's very
Fair.
interesting.
To add an addendum to this, I think that's fair. When we're looking at like corporations versus government, I think it just really all boils down to structure.
Yeah.
So like I think a very good example of this is people have a lot of umbrage towards private prisons, and I'm like, that makes sense because people are making money off of it. And I'm like, at the same time, like if I were giving contracts to a private prison, I would be like, hey, we're going to pay you, but if you can keep your recidivism rate lower than the public prison, we'll give you a bonus.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden they're going, oh, okay, you're telling me we're going to make more money?
Yeah.
If people are like socially well adjusted and have skill sets when they leave? Okay, so like I think it all just boils down to incentives.
Yeah, no, that's a very good incentive plug-in. Okay, where can people find more of you?
Well, I don't know how much to talk about love, but I do talk about private prisons on the Political Orphanage. So if you'd like to check out my podcast, The Political Orphanage is where to go.
Yeah, I'll have stuff in the bottom of the screen. There you go.
Nice. Please just have a bunch of shit scroll down real quick as you say that, and then blackout.
You can't find me. You can't cancel me if you can't find me. Bring it.